Hi, how are you? Hello? Hello? Oh my gosh. Can you
Can you hear me? Why is it not working? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? There we go. I don't know what was going on with my mic.
Okay, hello. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. And how are you, man?
I'm doing
Or
pretty.
directly jump to the topic.
What's that?
You like to introduce or just let's say move up to the
Well,
topic
I'm
direct?
just. I don't. I'm interested in what you believe in and why you believe it.
Yeah, for me, believe the oneness of God. For me, I
Okay.
believe there is a God, there is a creator of this world, and yeah, like that's my belief.
Okay.
And why? Because like all what we see around us, this harmony and this engineering of this world, absolutely it indicates to someone who created it, someone who designed it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's irrational to think this would come from arbitrary, something that pop up, I don't know, from non-existent to big exist, and it's not for my case, it's not work, I don't know, it's not such me to, you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. Um. So, is there a specific God you believe in, or do you just believe in that there is a God some out there?
Yeah, first I was like just establish the idea if there is a God or not. But when I became certain about yes, 100%, yes, there is a God, and I start believing. Then I move to the second step is searching for which I start like reading about like religions. And even for me, born Muslims, I was not convinced. I have like a lot of doubt. And before, like, even, yeah, you can say, like, I was not practicing at all Islam, like doing all this prohibited stuff, and I don't care. And like, when I start this journey of seeking, I don't know, who God is and which religion is true. I read about Christianity and Jewish and Buddhism, all these books. And I return back, like I put Islam is the last one. I put them back because I kind of like I'm not sure it's gonna be also include a lot of mistakes and also it's gonna be one of the false belief and I put it the last and like all this religion they didn't convince me because there's a lot of flaws in it and a lot of and I don't know a lot of things that it's not make sense for me, yeah. And yeah, I returned back to read about my religion and be I would say reading Quran and see if the Quran is preserved and a lot of cases and why Prophet Muhammad is a messenger. And more I read, more it became clear for me, and it's like I don't know, it became like the Islam is more like rational thing than any religion in this earth. And then yeah, I start convincing Islam is true, and that's my journey. It takes time, but yeah.
Okay. So, you said that Islam was the last religion.
Now, like I born Muslims, but I born in a West country. Even you are Muslim just by name.
Yeah, no, I mean
And
what I'm asking is like one of the things you said was you studied all these religions, but Islam was the last religion. Is that do you mean the last religion you studied, or the last religion to come around?
Now, like I have some stereotype about Islam. Even I'm born Muslim, but just I have some typical brief thing, and I include yes, Islam also a false religion, you know. And when I read all these beliefs or all these religions, I try to give another chance to Islam. And because before that, I was like, no, reading Quran or investigate time to read it and understand it. But I return back to understand it, and you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Uh, maybe. And the other thing you mentioned that I was curious about is, um, you said Islam is the most rational religion. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, because it's answer all the question that I have in my mind. Like whatever the question in my mind, I find I don't know a reasonable answer for it. Like unlike Christianity or Judaism or Buddhism, you know, that's what I mean by rational.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you. So, can you give me an example of a question that Islam answered that, say, Christianity didn't?
Yeah, about like the oneness of God, as I mentioned to you. Like for me, the Trinity, the concept of Trinity, it's not make sense at all. Like, and even like I visit a lot of church and talk to pastors or what's it called, I don't know, and they try to explain to me, but I never like feel this sort of satisfaction. Yes, it makes sense, and you can say it's mystery. Like a lot of them, they told me it's mystery, and you cannot understand God fully. But we should have some sort of rationality, you know, when you say three and one, come on, like, and you say everyone, like, they don't, it's not like the same. I'm just remember like what they say. And yeah, that's what I'm trying. But when I return to question Islam about the God, I found like just they describe in a verse, they say the Lord is one, the only, and he's not begotten, and he is not born, and he's not begotten, and he's self-sufficient. There's nothing like them, you know.
Hmm.
And yeah, that fits my what say innate nature, you know, innate something that innate position of my heart and stuff like that. You got what I'm saying?
Sure. So let me ask you a question then. So let's say take Buddhism. Like, do you think there's any questions that Buddhism answers that Islam doesn't?
I don't know, like Buddhism, I just I'm not spend much time in Buddhism because it seems so ridiculous for me to believe in demigod and Krishna and I don't know, like a lot of stuff that it became ridiculous to believe this. And you ask question like there's some answer in Buddhism that Islam cannot answer. No, at all.
Okay. All right. Um, and so if that's the case, if Islam answers all the questions, and there are questions, and there's no questions that Buddhism answers that Islam doesn't answer, how come you think? How? Why do you think there's still Buddhists?
Yeah, like it's about like people they follow their fathers and the parents believe and they start not going out of the culture and the system routine or something like that. And it's gonna be hard. Like for me, I have some friend like who was like Christian and he became a Muslim, you know, and he told me like it's one of the challenging thing to become Muslim. It's to get rid of the Christian culture, you know, because it's hard. Like, and it's gonna be one of the reason, and that's what I'm saying. You know, like people, and also if you are a person who's seeking the truth and sincere, absolutely you will follow the truth. But if you're someone who I don't know who they don't want like other people judge them or they don't like parents look at them in another way or something like that. Yeah, they even they see the truth, they say no. You can say they reject you or something like that. Yeah, that one of reasons. And also if you knowledge, when you, I don't know, yeah, searching about the truth, it's gonna you can find that, but if you not do this effort, you will still in your place. Yeah, I hope you answer your question.
Yeah, no, that was good. Um, let's see. So, do you think there's any Buddhists who have like studied Islam and said, no, that doesn't make sense to me. I think Buddhism makes more sense. Or do you think every Buddhist who's ever studied Islam and actually studied it with an open mind has converted to Islam?
Like that's the funny thing. Like what I meet the people who study Islam by sincere and try to seek the truth, absolutely they end up by converting to Islam. That's it's happened several times and hear a lot of personal face-to-face stories. And one of them, like, it's not my close friend, but it's my friend, his friend, like, you got me? And he start sitting and start talking. He was like against Islam, anti-Islamic or something like that. And he was a journalist. And he start making, he start like doing some thing about Islam. This what say stereotype of Islam tourism and restriction about women and stuff like that. And what he did, he was like taking a decision to start going deeply about Islam and read about all this corruption about Islam. They thought is a corruption and a lot of man-made belief and a lot of things. But when they start reading Quran and go into the lifestyle of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, and more they read, more they that appeal to me. Yeah, they believe the oneness, and also they see how the Quran is preserved and stuff like that. I'm not give you the exact what they say, but I'm sorting to you.
Sure.
Yeah, they end up by converting. Just imagine someone who have the attention to show the world the side of what say Islam is a hatred, terrorism, and what say suspect to the women. They end up by converting. That person is, I don't know, like the first attention is not sincere, but in the journey he will became sincere rather than someone who sincere and coming to read about Quran or read about Islam and stuff like that. And absolutely, that's the key, sincerity, and when you humble yourself, because like there's like a thousands of proof and evidence about Islam that you cannot deny this. I don't know, this belief. It's from God or from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Another question I had was, how do you explain Muslims who convert out of Islam?
Could you like someone who was a Muslim and convert to
Converted
Christianity or
Christian
something?
or Buddhism or became atheist or just is no longer a Muslim.
For my case, if I can't judge. I'm not the
I'm not
judge.
asking you to judge. I'm just saying like if Islam makes so much this much sense and everything, and so
Like I understand. Yeah, yeah, I misunderstand, but now I understand the question. Yeah, there is like several reasons. Yeah, one of the most of it, like it's about like money, or some sort of famous thing. I don't know, like they follow desires and stuff like that. It can be
test
one
test.
of this because if you sit with them in the table and make a discussion with them and just told them where is the problem, or where is the thing that push you away or push you out of Islam. You hear me?
Can can you
Hello.
hello? Okay. My mic is I don't my mic lost connection again. Um sorry. I was
Let me, yeah. Uh, Let me repeat what I'm saying.
yeah.
It's like I told you, like it's gonna be one of reasons, like follow the desires of this life, and also money and women's and famous and this stuff, and also about like, and then what I'm saying is like also like if you sit with this person in a table and start to discuss or tackle this problem that push them out of Islam, they cannot give you a reasonable reason why he get out of Islam. They just playing out, and that's why I say a lot of time because yeah, most of time, and yeah, you got what I'm saying.
Okay. Now I'd like to circle all the way back to one of the first things you said, which was that Islam provided all the answers for the questions you had. Now, just because you're given an answer, how do you tell if that answer is true?
Yeah, like what the best thing about Islam when you establish the foundation of yes, this belief is 100% true or authentic, and then all what comes inside this belief, you believe it because you established this book Quran is 100% from Allah as a revelation to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And yeah, like all what like because like if let's say if this you got what I'm saying, like I hope you got what I'm saying, I established the foundation that the Quran and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a
Oh,
100%.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. So if I understand what you're saying is, you know that the answers that Islam gives you is are correct because it's in the Quran. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, because I established Quran is 1% authentic. It's preserved. It's there's a lot of miracles in Quran that prove this Quran is a revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a lot of stuff because I put the foundation and I believe this Quran. And then like whatever the answer made from Quran or authentic hadith, the tradition of the Prophet, yes, 100%. Yeah, that's true. You
Okay.
got what I'm saying?
Okay. So you establish that the Quran is accurate because of the miracles in it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Um what if someone doesn't like what if I look at it and I say I don't think those miracles happened? How would you what could you point me to or to that would say no these miracles did happen?
Yeah, like what beautiful about Quran because like there's a life what's a life goal in miracles or something like something that you can I don't know test it now, like Quran they put a falsification test. They say
Oh, really?
if this yeah they say if this Quran from other than a god you will find a lot of corruption and a lot of mistake in it, but yeah, but it's not from a man or something like that, right? There's no corrupted in it, there is no mistake at all, and also they put a challenge in to the people, at that time of Prophet until now. They say if you yeah, like they say, try to imitate a verse, or they put in the first test they put like try to imitate the whole book, and then try to imitate 10 verses, and then they put it like just one, no, not verses, chapters. Sorry, like John one chapter, 10 chapters, and then he reduced the challenge just to one chapter, and the chapter it like include like 5 verses in it,
Mm-hmm.
and until now there's no one debunk it. Until now there's no one make the challenge, And yeah, and also there's a lot of prophecies that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he made thousands of prophecies. None of them is false. None of them it's not happened or something like that. That's proof the validation of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you know.
Right. What I mean, the prophecies. That's what was the question we asked. I was asking about is like, what if I don't find them true? But I'm interested in this. Can't imitate the text one. Like, okay, so I'm trying to think of what imitating a text would be like, and so it would like I'm thinking to imitate a text, it would sound like the text, maybe have the same cadence or tone as the text, but it would be different than the text. What would imitating a text mean?
You you know, like for me, I'm not someone who knowledgeable. I'm trying to answer, you know, from as I read and I see, you know. The meaning of text in Quran, like Quran have a own style, you know, like it's written by Arabic, but have own style. It's not related to the rules of Arabic grammar and stuff like that, you know. And at the time of the Arab, what's say, at the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and also by the way, the Prophet he was illiterate, you know, he couldn't write or read, you know. That's one of the miracle how can produce this eloquence book that I don't know, like from someone who couldn't write or read, you know. And that's the test. It's about like to bring the same rules of the Quran, because like it's not related to rules of Arabic or any rules in any language, you know, have their own style, you know. And that proved the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is no mistake in it, you know, and there's no contradiction or something that's not fit or something like that. And yeah.
Okay. Um, and then one other thing you said is if it's false, there will be a lot of corruption in it. Now that corruption, I'm curious because to me that's a little ambiguous. Did you mean corruption in the text or corruption in the religion?
Yeah, corruption in the test, because if I give you, I'm not remembered exact about Christian, you know, like you will, if you read the Bible, you will find some contradiction in it. You found some corruption in it, you know, some verse taken out, some verse added and stuff like that. And that's kind of the thing, you know. And also there's some verses of contradiction each other, you know. I'm not if you want to like to the exact verse, I can bring it, but just mention it like in a general, you know. And Quran is totally different, you know. And yeah, like they mean if not longer or if not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because like person or people can make mistakes, you know. Every person can make mistakes, and no one is perfect, you know. And if from a person who write this Quran in 40,000 years ago, absolutely now you will find some flaws in it. You will find some contradiction with science, you know. But Quran, you see, it's aligned with science. And also sometimes, like in the past, some theory it's rejected, some theory it was like true in the past, and Quran he was against on it, you know, and the only religion that's against on it. But now the science proved this was a false thing in the past and align with Quran. Science returned back to align with Quran. I'm a book, Quran it's a scientific book, but it include some part of scientific stuff, you know. I hope you got that.
Yeah, I think I did. So, are you familiar with the word harmonization?
Could you explain more?
Okay, so harmonization is when you take a text, and usually it's a religious text, but it's when you take a text and like it says two things that are contradict each other. And harmonization is where you develop an explanation for why those don't actually contradict. And I know that most religions do this with their texts because most of them have contradictions. But the people who believe these texts, they don't uh, they don't see these as contradictions that have been harmonized. They see the harmonization as part of the text. And so my question is, like, when you say the Quran has no contradictions, how do you differentiate that, perhaps maybe you're hearing a harmonization that you buy and believe that's built into the text when it's not?
Yeah, like what's say contradiction, it's so clear, when you say a person, the same person have, I read this in Bible, like I'm not I remember the exact, like you see a person have the same person have 22 years and the exact person have 24 years, like this is a clear contradiction because like the same I would say person, the same year and the same all the category, but the age is different. For me, I don't need like it's a clear contradiction, and even someone come and try to give us some explanation, it's not, it's gonna not be harmonized or something like that. And Quran, you cannot find this thing, like for me, like from my journey of reading about Islam, there's no sort of contradiction. There's interpretation, but it's not a contradiction, like because like there is a rule in Quran. They say if you are like let's say mixing between something, try to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet, like try to return it back to the Quran and the the authentic hadith or the tradition of the prophet, whatever there is some sort of argument or you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like that my case, and
Okay. Um. Hey, Josh, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Good deal. Um. I don't really have any more questions for you. Uh. Is it Bilal? I don't. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not good at foreign languages. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Um. But I don't really have any other questions for you. So I think I'll move on to Josh. Josh, what do you believe?
okay, I have like to go. It was a good conversation with you,
Yeah,
and
I
I
enjoyed it.
appreciate your time, and
Hello,
goodbye. Thank you.
how's everyone doing today?
Hey, hey, Near, good to see you.
Hello, Mr. Phantom.
Josh. So what was it that you believe?
Um, well, I'm a Christian, so I I do believe in Christianity.
Okay, and why do you believe in Christianity? Christianity.
Well, it's more like a deep reason because if you ask somebody why do they believe in something, they'll just pull up something like, "Oh, I find it's the truth," or like I relate to that. But they will never tell you about the experience or something that happened in their life, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's only like a supernatural power that could get them out of that. Like if you ask anybody, they'll be like, "Oh, like it's just I relate to that and I practice it." But the real essence of believing in something is that the thing that you believe in supposed to get you out of some situation that you find yourself in your life. That's why I do believe in Christianity because like there is like multiple time in my life, and some people will be like, "Oh, you're probably talking some bullshit,"
Okay.
but I don't really care about that. It's just like sometime in my life, and I'm just like, there is no way like that thing happened, and if it wasn't for God, that's why I do believe in that.
Okay. So the reason you believe in Christianity is because that belief has gotten you out of some situations in your life that you could not have gotten out of if it weren't true.
True. Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Do you think there's other religions where people could say the same thing about?
Well, the thing is, there's only one true religion. Why do I say that? Because every religion claim they are the true one. Me, personally, is, from my parents, and they do believe in Christianity, so it kind of bestowed that upon me. Me personally, the reason why I believe in it, I wouldn't believe in it first of all if they were just like, oh, you should follow that, you should follow that, and just do whatever. It's because what I see from my own eyes, and I choose to learn about other religion too, because it's not only one thing. It's not good to be biased in life, and you should see other religion and compare it to what you have. That's the only reason. Um, we you can have a better understanding on how your religion can be right and the other one can be wrong. I'm just saying it that way. I don't care if I upset some people. Um,
Right, but what I'm asking for is, let's say I don't believe in Christianity and I don't believe in this other religion, and both of you are saying, it's gotten you out of situations in your life that you couldn't have gotten out otherwise. Like, how do I say, oh yeah, this is the one, this one is true and that one is false? Because you're both presenting me with the same information.
I feel like some people, it's like, you trying to understand things, like asking questions. I feel like some people do ask questions because they do want to know, but some other people, they do ask questions because for the purpose of just talking. Like the real person that be asking question and that's looking for something, I feel like God is going to reveal himself to you in any way that you can,
Hey,
like if you're truthful for
hey,
me.
hey, hey, Josh. Can I add something?
Oh
Um,
sure.
um, yeah, I think that what you Phantom is asking, it is a good question, right? He's asking like, why do you believe in something, right? So, but but I studied a little bit of Christianity. I know that there are several Pacific Christians claim that are disputed. In terms of, and they're inconsistent. Like for example, and you try to examine it, like Trinity, the divinity of Jesus, the atonement theory, the biblical authorship, and textual reliability, right? So many Christian doctrines contradict each other, right? That is one, right? Of what
For
which is that,
example.
for example, God is all powerful but then died, right? Like Jesus is fully God yet doesn't know the hour, right? So most Christian doctrines come from Paul, not Jesus himself. So even the transcript, where Jesus never directly says, "I am the God," right? This
Said
is
it, yeah.
yeah,
It's true.
this is inferred later. So if you evaluate the historical reliability, the Bible is not a single book. It is a collection of anonymous writing decades after Jesus, right? So this affects the strength of the theological claim. Also, the idea of the Trinity, it raises the logical question. For example, they say three in one, right? So how can three, in a literal, not metaphorical sense, how can an eternal God die? How can God be omniscient yet have moment of ignorance, right? Um, there is also about many belief about virgin birth, miracle, resurrection that also appear other near Eastern religion, like raising the question of culture borrowing. The idea of that Christianity may be wrong theologically, but valuable morally, right? So those are the things that I feel like um, that are some of the things that you can look into. Even some of the scholars, from Christian scholars, they remove the word begotten son. If you look into the research, you will find it. So these are the things that I find are questionable. Like if Jesus is the God, like how come he's not consistently emphasizing I'm a God or worship me? And
Well, he say that in John 10:30. He say, I and the Father are one. And in John 8:58, he say,
Mhm.
before Abraham was, I am. So he's just claiming that he's God, basically.
Mm-hmm. No, no. I think what I was trying to say is unequally, like he's inferring it. That's what you're saying. But I'm talking about like unequally, like like in Islam, the Quran in the Quran, the God says, "I'm the God, I'm the Allah, I'm the Absolute, I'm the Power, I am this, I am that. Worship me, I am it, I'm thee." Right. So I'm just saying that in that sense, it's not really emphasized in that way. Yeah.
Well, it's um I would say as humans, we can have our doubts. It's like when some like because I don't really understand where you're trying to come from. Um, because some people, because as humans we don't know everything, right? And the Bible was written like over 500 years, like by 40 different people, 39 Jew and one non-Jew. So there is and it was over a period of time where they didn't meet each other. Like there is no way they could meet each other. And you see the train of thoughts in Christianity is just like
Mm-hmm.
there is no way you can get 40 people inside a room and you ask them to write an essay and then the essay gonna look the same. Like
Mm.
that's impossible, first of
Right.
all.
Right, right. But I'm talking about a simple concept like Trinity, right? The three person in one in essence, right? The Trinity raises unresolved logical problem. How can something be one being but also three distinct person without contradiction? How can Jesus be all powerful but also hungry, tired, tempted, lacking knowledge, right? For example, Jesus says, I can of my own
Well,
self do nothing,
well,
right?
well.
And then and hold on, and then in your upload in the for example in the Jesus human limitation and the idea of the God, Jesus admit that he doesn't know the hour but the Father alone knows. So these features, they sort of contradict the idea of all knowing, all powerful. That's all I wanted to make. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, one thing I was going to say is all powerful doesn't imply that you can't be hungry. In fact, it would imply that you can be hungry. It's just voluntarily that you're hungry, right?
True,
Or that you
true,
died, but it was your choice that you died. Like you could have
true,
chosen not to die, but you chose no. I'm going to go ahead and die. Like like I don't think
true.
all powerful would contradict those things. Uh, it just means that it was within his power to not do that, and he chose to go ahead and do
Mhm.
that.
Okay, so you're saying that if so you're saying that if you're saying if God is all power, couldn't he just choose to be hungry or choose to die? But all powerful being cannot choose to become weak in a way that contradicts his essential nature, right? So in
Well,
that sense, because the true omnipotence means cannot be ignorant, cannot be weak, cannot die, cannot lose power, cannot experience hunger, fatigue, fear, cannot become less than himself.
so
These are not the limitation. These are part of the definition of maximally perfect being. So if God could stop being God even for a moment, then he's not necessary, not eternal, not self-sufficient, and therefore not God.
it doesn't mean that God stopped being God. The thing about God sending only his son to die for our sin, which so many people they got a problem with that for some reason. And I understand that can be confusing too because every time I be talking to somebody, I try to put myself in their shoes and try to see where they're coming from. Because like as humans, some people will claim, oh, there's like something there, I see something there. But remember, it's just your concept. It's based on what you know, and it's not based on the other side or the other person speaking or the other facts that you can find on the side of the Bible that we're speaking about. It's like me talking about like Islam. You know what I mean? Unless I have like a knowledge which is deep about it, I will not say, hey, and there is something there. It's just like, okay, God sent only his son. Because how would you trust a God that doesn't know how you feel? First of all, if somebody tell me, God say, okay, I'm gonna create humans. in the Garden of Eden, he created Adam and Eve. And he's like, you guys don't eat the fruit. That's the fruit of knowledge. And if you eat it, you're gonna die. Right? Eve eat the fruit. God, in creating the earth, say, I'm not gonna interfere. Even though I'm more powerful, God give himself limitation. God say, do as you wish, as humans, because we are part of God. So if God intervene, that means that even God violate his own word. So how are you gonna trust somebody that can violate his own words?
Well,
Does this Go ahead.
Mhm. Sorry, go ahead.
so you said how will you trust someone who can validate his own words? Is
Yeah,
that what
who
you
is
said?
gonna violate his own words? Yeah,
How can I didn't understand the question. I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that, Phantom?
I think he asked how would you trust someone who can validate his own, or how would you not trust someone who can validate his own words? I would question
When
how can you know someone is validating their own words?
because they told you. Because God tell when He create humans, the earth is for you guys. Procreate, multiply, and choose as you do so. And I will choose to not interfere because God is a spirit. Remember, because things in nature are in order. If you take the fish out of his living habitat, the fish gonna die. The fish supposed to stay in water. If you take the stars out of the firmament, they're gonna turn into meteorites and they're gonna burn, they're gonna consume themselves. If you take a tree out of the ground, the tree gonna die because the source is the ground in itself. And if you take humans from God, they're gonna do all crazy things. What is happening around the world. There is no morals, there is no everything.
Hmm.
So
Um. So a couple things like uh one I don't think that explains how you can know someone has validated their own words. But also, like you said, the stars would turn to meteorite. What do you think stars are? Like, what
they
are
are not
stars?
meteorite.
What's that?
They are gas.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
you don't think stars are like tiny points of light that are maybe 10 miles above Earth or anything. You believe they're like light years away.
No, I believe that stars, they're like gas. It's not believe when it comes to stars. It's like, okay, we got a piece of the star and we studied them. Stars, they're gas.
Yeah, I agree. I was just curious because you said like stars would you take them out of the firmament and then they turn to meteors and like if a star were to hit Earth, it would like it's way bigger than Earth and would just obliterate us because and it wouldn't even like it wouldn't hit the Earth. The Earth would hit it.
Well, true. Because like when you take the star out of the firmament, it's not a star anymore. That's why I say it's like a meteorite. That's why it's being burned when it entered the atmosphere. So it's not in its natural habitat. It's not in its natural place. And you can see that in nature, everywhere you go.
Hmm.
Like there is law basically in the universe. There's, like the a law which say if you're on top of a building, you're not Superman, and if you try to fly, you're gonna get crushed on the ground because there is a law that state that you're not Superman. You cannot fly. You're not a bird. Only bird can fly.
Right. Okay. Um. And so how do you know? But that still doesn't answer for me the question of how do you know that the word like if someone says I am God, how you validate that. Um
I
sorry, what was that near?
I think like from what I understand, I feel so. My understanding is, just like Jesus, right? Jesus, for example, there are many verses that talks about Jesus being like I think that the idea of being a son of God, I think that is metaphor because in Luke 3:38, Adam is called
Mhm.
son of God. Exodus 4:22, Israel is called God's son. David is called God's firstborn, right, in Psalm 89:27. And then there is also peacemakers are son of gods, right? According to Matthew chapter 5, verse 9, right? But none of them are divine. So when it comes to, so therefore, I feel that Jesus, where Jesus says son of God, I think that is the natural interpretation. It's metaphorical. It's not something literate, right? Because even the Christian scholars, they had a problem with the word begotten son. So that is my one point. I feel like Jesus is not the Son of God, and because Jesus and the my point is that Jesus never. There's not a single unequivocal statement anywhere in the Bible where Jesus says, "I'm a God" or "Worship me," right?
Are you
This is the
sure? What if I show
yeah.
you one?
Show me a verse where Jesus says, "I'm a God" or "Worship me." These
Like
two
I'm a
words.
god, you say?
Yeah, not me. I'm saying show me a verse where Jesus. My claim is that Jesus never claimed to be a god anywhere in the Bible. And when and I'm asking you as a challenge to show me one verse where Jesus says clearly, "I'm a God" or "Worship me." My claim is there is not a single unequivocal statement anywhere in the Bible where Jesus says, "I'm a God" or "Worship me." This is the
Okay,
central. This is a central hard fact. So if a
so
person
go
doesn't
into
claim to be
Isaiah. Isaiah
okay,
44:6.
okay,
Well,
sure.
Is
Jesus doesn't
Oh,
speak in Isaiah.
no. Let him quote. Let him
Sorry,
say it.
sorry. Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead,
Isaiah
Josh.
44, verse
Go-
6.
Okay. Go ahead. Can you quote
Mm,
the verse?
yeah, let me get it for you guys.
Yeah. Sure, sure.
Isaiah,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Isaiah 44.
Um, hello, 17:17 p.m. Thanks for joining
Damn.
us. I've got it up if you want
Hello,
me to read it to you.
Oh, you
can you
found it?
talk free?
Okay.
Yeah.
Phantom is saying he found it. Go ahead, Phantom.
It
Sorry.
says, "This is what the Lord says: Israel's King
Mm,
and Redeemer, the Lord Almighty. I am the first and the last. Apart from me, there is no God." So,
so,
Which verse is this?
Isaiah 44:6. So in
yes,
there, it's
I'm the
it
first.
do what?
I'm the first and I'm the last. Apart from me, there is no God.
Yeah. So
Isaiah 4:44.
6.
Yes.
And so
4,
this is what the Christians would say, God the Father speaking through Isaiah, saying, I am God, and there is no other God." Um, but that's not Jesus. That's God the Father saying that, because Jesus doesn't isn't around in Isaiah. He comes around in the New Testament.
yeah, because he's saying there's no one before me and no other God divine. So this I'm the first, I'm the last. God is the only absolute being. This verse actually destroys the Trinity because Christians, they said that since Jesus uses this phrase later in the Revelation, he must be a God. But there is a problem with that, right? Because
So,
only right. So because the verse says, "Beside me there is no God, no other God, no second person, no." So if it says zero beside him, so that means Jesus can be another divine person. Jesus can't share a God essence. So yeah, so first and last, Jesus has a beginning, born to a Mary, right? What we said is God has no beginning. Jesus says the Father is greater than I, the only true God, my God, right? So that is a being with
okay.
the God that is not the same
So
as
would you
God.
accept? Would you accept? If we say where you say that him and the Father is only one, would you accept if I show you a verse where you say is equal to the Father?
That
Would you
him and
accept? Yeah, and in him and the Father are the same, so they are equal.
no, but there is, for example, Jesus himself
No,
says,
you
my
say
sure,
that
go ahead.
it's
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. So like what you say is like you claim that Jesus never say he is God. You know, he's like he's not like the Father. You say the God is superior to him. But I want to show you a verse where he say him and the Father is the same. Oh, we clear on that, right? Because there's like no sugarcoating anything. It's just like you put an argument, and I'm just showing you where you said that. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
right. But my claim was that unequivocal, where he's saying that I'm the God or worship me. That was my point.
Okay. So would you agree that when you say the Father, you should worship the Father, right? Jesus said that somewhere in the Bible. Would you
Right.
agree
I'm
that
not.
okay,
Yeah, but I'm not
you
talking
should,
about. Yeah, but I'm not talking about.
okay, the Father. Yeah. So if him, okay. So in John 10, he say, my Father who has given them to me is greater than all. No one
Yeah.
can snatch them out of my Father's hand.
Right.
I and the Father are one. Are one. What you want more?
But for me, that is more about the purpose. He's
Not
talking
for
about.
you. It's not about for you. It's about something you asked me and I just show it to you.
I mean that yeah.
Right.
I
Right. But if you go to John 5:30, he says, "I can of my own self do nothing." Right.
As a human, when he was on earth,
Right.
he needed the Father's help.
Right. But how can he be a God? But that's the problem with the Trinity, right?
It's
But
not a
because
problem. You should see it like as something that um
but
how can you a Trinity. Humans, we got spirit, we got soul, and we got our physical bodies.
right. But if Jesus was God, why is he crying out to someone else? Right. God does not pray. God does not abandon God. God does not cry to another being.
Okay, I like the way you say Jesus, because there is Jesus, which is from what I was listening to before yesterday. Jesus is the physical part. Christ is different. So that's why when the angel Michael came to Mary, he said, you're gonna have a son. You can only give him a name, which you can call him Jesus, but the
Mm.
last name is from God Himself that's going to give it to him. So that means Jesus, yes, is physical, but as a spiritual person or as a spiritual being God, Mary could not name like.
But Jesus affirmed that God has greater power than him. He says, all power is given unto me. Matthew 28:18. If given, that means receive. God does not receive power. God is its source. So this proved that Jesus is subordinate and dependent,
So
right?
okay, so there's okay, I understand what you're trying to say. There's two type of people in the world, like I like to say. There's the people that are seeking the truth, and there's the people that are already making their mind up, and they know that even if somebody tried to give them the truth, there is no way they're gonna change their
Mm.
mind. The
Okay.
last kind of people, I don't talk to them.
Okay. What
So
about
if
this one?
you
What about this one? Jesus says, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, and that is God. Jesus says, why call thou me good? There is none good but one, and that is God. Jesus is separating himself from God's perfection. So if he were God, he would accept being called God. Good,
uh
good. It-
which gospel was that in?
It's let me give you the exact. Sorry, let me give you the exact reference. I don't want to make any mistake. It's on Mark 10,
Mark 10.
chapter
Okay.
18. He says, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. Luke chapter 18 and 19.
Luke or Mark?
Luke is both. Luke 18 and
Okay.
19. Why is there's so let me go ahead and quote this. Let me just paste it so that you have it and I'm not making any mistake. Okay, so this is Mark 10:18, and then there's also Luke 18 and 19.
Uh no, I don't think I think the Luke verse might be
I'm
wrong.
sorry?
this
Oh,
this
Luke
Uh,
18. Oh, I thought you said 10, 18, and 19. You said Luke
oh,
18,
sorry.
19.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. I'll just
Okay.
post a reference because I don't want to make any mistake. My
Sure.
bad. My bad.
Um okay. So is it possible that what got written down with what, because these two quotes seem to contradict the quote from John. So, like, is it possible that one of them is mistaken?
So, no. My point is, if you go to Matthew 26:39, he fell on his face and prayed, not my will, but your will be done. Right. So Jesus prays to God in Matthew 26:39. John 20:17, I ascend to my Father and your Father, my God and your God. He clearly says that. John 20:17, I ascend to my Father and your Father, my God and your God.
You know, Near, I have to say, I am impressed that you know all these verses from the Christian text when you're not a Christian. That is impressive.
No, because I studied Christianity.
Yeah, no,
I
I know.
studied
I'm
Christian.
just saying it is
Yeah.
impressive that you know these things.
Thank you. Yes. But then Matthew 26:46, he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? If he was God, he would not cry to God, right? He says on the cross, Jesus cries to God. He says, Matthew 27, verse 46, he says,
Well,
my God, why have you forsaken me?
like, so the thing is, when he said that, because like, I don't know, you're probably gonna not gonna accept that anyway.
Oh, no, no,
Um,
no. No, brother. We're just having an open conversation. You can put
so
whatever you want to say it. Yeah.
So the thing about when Jesus said, "Why have you forsaken me?" when he was on the cross, because in order for Jesus to redeem all humans, because as you guys already know, we all humans, we are from the same two people. That's why we can attest. We are from. I don't know, like, what you guys know, if like God created multiple humans on planet Earth and they all created. But for me, we all come from two people. So that means Jesus is a part of the human. So we are all connected to each other. So Jesus being connected to all humans, he came to redeem all humans because we are all connected. So we share the same blood going back to Adam and Eve. So what he has to do is that in order to redeem all humans, he has to go to carry all the sins of the people that was before, that was and that is coming. So when he take all the sin and he wash it with his blood, he was dirty on the cross because literally he has to take all the sin of the people, and God himself, his father couldn't look at him because he's like, you carrying all this, the crime, adultery, fornication, all the people that are killing their sisters and brothers, all those things, you're carrying that on your back. And me as a holy God, I have like the father tell that the father say, I cannot tolerate and I cannot dwell in the presence of sin. So he turned his back, not because he forgot him, but because Jesus was too heavy with the sin that he has to turn his back for a moment to not look at him. Because as a father and you have your son and you see your son like doing something that happens to him, it's not that because you don't love your son that you don't look at him. It's just that the situation is so precarious that you just have to turn your back from it and you just like sad or whatever. And then him washing the people. So now, and he's dead and he redeemed everybody. And then now, we can all be saved. So that's the context for me, how that happened. Not because literally God has forsaken him.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So
Yeah.
so there was so yeah, so Phantom, going back to the topic, there's another verse in Mark 13 and 32 where Jesus says, but of that day or hour no one knows, not even the Son, but only the Father. So my question to here is that if he doesn't know something, he can't be all knowing. And if he can't be all knowing, then he can't be a God.
Sure. Um, I mean, we are kind of getting off the topic. Like, I was more interested in why he believes and not not how he handles things that would be contradictory, and we have
Okay,
kind of got into that quite a bit.
okay, because I think that the focus should be from the textual point is whether we believe Jesus is God. I think that should be the focus because you can interpret the verse the way he was explaining, which is fine. He explained it, but if you look at the biblical scholars, the way they read it, the way they revised it, the way it says it, the way they explain it, I think that's more important.
Well,
And
I mean,
my
yeah, I understand where you're coming from. What I was really hoping to do was like, you know, how did you reach the conclusions that you've reached? Like, what steps did you take? That's all I'm trying to trace the map, I guess.
in what context? In what context? Like you
Uh,
mean
so like you give me a belief that you something that you believe, and I say, well, how did you reach that belief? Like, did you see something or did you read something? You know, things like that. Like, what did you? How did you get to that
but
belief?
but I think that question in itself, I think that is not because I feel like you should be able to explain it. You should have a clear understanding how you reach to that point,
That
right?
yeah,
If
no,
I if I
absolutely. That's what I'm
if
saying.
I if I wake up and I tell you I had a dream and I believe outside of my window I saw a spaghetti monster and I say I believe in it, and you ask me, hey, how did you believe in it? I say, well, I saw it in my dream and I feel it in my bones that there's a spaghetti monster out there. Then yeah, then that's what I believe in. But I should be sitting down here and I should be able to tell you, hey, look, just like we're having this dialogue, right? We're questioning things. We're like, okay, this is what this verse says. This is how it is interpreted. This is what is being said. So I think that is the important question. Yeah, if somebody can tell you any story, they can say that they had a car accident and in that brief moment they died and they saw Jesus and they came back to alive and this is what they believe in. People can make any claims, but the important question should be is how you are questioning it, and you're looking at the scriptures, you're trying to understand their methodology, trying to understand the concept. I think that is much more important. That's just my point.
Sure. I mean, I can see that it's important if that's involved in how the person with the belief arrived. If they looked at scripture and said, okay, this scripture, but if they arrived at the belief other ways, then that's what I'm interested in. So like Josh said it had Christianity had his belief in Christianity had got him out of situations in his life, and that's kind of validated it to him. And I think I asked this, but it's been a while. But I think I asked, well, what about people who have other beliefs that got them out of situations that would say not Christianity is true, something else is true. You know, how to what about that? Because like to me, I think people have um uh I believe there are people that would say that they've gotten out of situations because of their belief in, something that would be contradictory. You couldn't believe in Christianity and say uh, uh, Shintoism or something. Well, maybe you could Shintoism, but there's certainly other beliefs that you couldn't. So anyway, uh, Near, what's your belief that you came in for?
You mean like what is my personal belief? Like what do I believe in?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be religion. It just has to be something you believe in, and why do you
Uh,
believe
uh,
it?
I think we did had a long conversation, and I think I did told you that
Yeah.
I'm a Muslim and I believe in Islam. And why do I believe in it? I think I did kind of explain it to you. The pure Tawheed, which is the pure monotheism, that God is only one, and then He's the absolute, He's the eternal, and we sort of went through those steps how I came to that conclusion. I think we had like a 2 3 hour conversation
Yeah, we did
last
have
time.
we did
we,
we
we when we were yeah, when we were talking about it, and then the attributes of God is what really makes sense to me. Like, what is God? What is the definition of God? Does God pray to somebody? Is God is all sufficient? Does God needs another God? Like having these type of questions and asking them. And I think we did talked about like different religion as well, like Brahman. We talked about Brahman, but then when we got into the attributes of Brahman, we realized it's sort of like pantheism. It's similar to pantheism. So all that, and then we talked about a little bit how the information get, when we look at the paper, there's an information, when we that information is a data type. That data type can be form of different information, like for example software engineering, like computer programming, even the free for talk. We're saying that there is an intelligence behind that. And then Bill Gates said DNA is far far more advanced than any computer programming. So that means there's a higher intelligence behind that. So my belief is that I believe in all the prophets. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Moses. I believe in Noah. I believe in all Abraham. The message was one, that there's only one God, and to worship Him. And if you don't worship Him, then then you deal with whatever. But that's the idea, that God sends all the prophets to remind the the people that there's only one God, and whoever follows it is saved, and whoever doesn't is outside of it. So even Jesus in Quran mentioned 25 times. Quran in his original language is in Arabic.
So,
Yeah, go
so
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, the thing is like, I don't know how you're gonna take that, but the thing is like the Quran mentioned Jesus, but the Bible never mentioned anything like inside the Quran or about like Muslim or about Muhammad or whatever. Like you just ask yourself the question, what is going on? Like if the Bible doesn't mention that, and the Quran is just like talking about like the guy, hey, you guys, he's a prophet, but he's not like, I guess, part or he's not in the Trinity. So why would the Quran be, talking about Jesus? Why the Bible doesn't even mention, anything inside of the Quran?
So the Quran mentions Jesus, but just Jesus came before Muhammad. The Bible does not mention Muhammad because he came 600 years after the Bible was completed, and the Bible has been
Okay.
yeah. So the Bible does, according to us, the Bible does speak about Muhammad not by name but by prophecy. So it says, just like it never names Jesus'
Oh,
mother, Mary father, or Paul names before converser. So the argument, Bible doesn't mention the Muhammad name, but by name, it's not by name that is not there, but it is mentioned about the prophecy.
which
Okay.
prophecy in the Bible is mentioning Muhammad?
So it's in Deuteronomy 18:18.
Okay.
God tell Moses, I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brothers, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he will speak, and he will speak all I command.
Okay.
Which why this matches with Muhammad, because we say that the Quran is the word of God. Um,
Well, but doesn't I mean that seems pretty vague to me. It seems to me like any of the prophets, as long as
Mm.
uh they
well,
they could have
well,
fulfilled those that
well,
verse.
right. So God tells Moses, right? So Jesus is not like Moses. Moses had a father and a mother. Jesus had no father. Moses married. Jesus didn't. Moses
I
had
didn't say
children.
Jesus. I
Jesus.
said any of the prophets.
Right, right. We're talking about specifically Jesus.
Well, I'm not.
Well, we're talking about in Deuteronomy. There's a chapter 18:18.
Yeah.
But that being said, we believe in all the prophets. I'm sure that the Bible doesn't mention all the prophets, right? We believe in Adam, we believe in Noah, we believe in Ibrahim, we believe in Moses, we believe in Jesus, and we believe that the final prophet was Prophet Muhammad. But we believe that all those prophets, they had one message, which is to believe in one God, and which we believe that it has started from the beginning of the time since Adam. And then even we believe in Jesus. We believe that he performed all the miracles, but we don't say that he was a God's son, right? In the Quran, God says that just like I created Adam, I created Jesus. So he's saying that Adam didn't had any parents. So Jesus was didn't had a father. So he says he can
Right.
So,
Well,
he can do all things.
so
Hmm.
hold on.
so
You're not answering my question. So this verse, Deuteronomy 18:18. Would you agree that Daniel was a prophet?
Is it David? David?
Daniel.
Daniel.
Daniel is a
or
prophet.
Isaiah or
Isaiah,
Ezekiel.
yes, yes, yes.
Isaiah was a prophet.
John.
Okay, how do you know that Isaiah isn't the one that this verse is talking about?
So, so, so there are few verses, and I can look it up and tell you on it. I don't have it readily available with me right now, but it it doesn't say exactly Muhammad, but it does talk about the future prophet that will come. So when you're talking about Moses, these prophets that you're mentioning, this is referring to the previous prophet, right? So God is telling Moses, he says, I will raise up from them a prophet like you from among their brothers, and I will put. He's talking about the future. You're talking about the past. This Ezekiel and all these prophets. They
Well,
were.
not when this verse was written, it's still the future. I mean, all of these, all I mean, Muhammad is in the past now, so like, that's not. I don't understand what you're saying there.
Right. I'm saying that that this previous prophet, there are previous prophet that were before Moses, and the verse is referring to future one. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm asking is, you're saying this verse refers to Muhammad, and I'm saying, how do you know it doesn't refer to Isaiah?
We're saying that there it references, but not like you know because it talks about prophet like Moses. We're saying that Moses was similar to Prophet Muhammad because the prophet like Moses is from the brothers of Israel. So God put His word in his mouth, and he speaks only what God commands. So, for example, a prophet like Moses had a normal birth. Jesus didn't. And then from among other their brothers is Israel's brother is Ishmael, right? Isaac and Ishmael are the sons of Ibrahim. They're the descendants, are the brothers. Israel comes from Isaac. Ishmael comes from Arabs. So this automatically eliminates Jesus and then every other Jewish prophet. So only an Arab prophet fit this.
No,
So the Muhammad is a
No,
direct.
it doesn't.
An Ishmaelite couldn't arise from their fellow Israelites. It would have to be another Israelite, wouldn't it?
Israelites come from Isaac. Isaac.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Ishmaelites comes from Arabs.
yeah. So it says, "I will raise a prophet from you among their fellow Israelites." I mean, that implies that it's an Israelite, so it couldn't be an Ishmaelite. It seems like it would.
Uh,
It seems like it would preclude. It would make it couldn't be Muhammad. This verse is referring to.
right. So so basically, so yeah, Israel. Yeah, you're right. Israel brothers are Ishmaelites because Isaac and Ishmael are the sons of Ibrahim, and their descendants are the brother. And
Yeah,
Ishmaelites come from
but
Isaac.
it doesn't say fellow sons of Abraham. It says fellow Israelites. So like it's saying not any of the people from Ishmael. It's saying It's saying, even not even saying anything from Esau. It'd be only Jacob, because Jacob was the one who was Israel.
Okay, so you're saying that it's saying Israelites, right?
Yeah, it says Israelites.
And you're saying it's not Arab, not Arab. You're saying.
I mean,
No,
that's what the verse
that's what
says
it
in
says.
English. I don't know
That's
what
what
the
the
original
verse
says.
say.
I don't speak Hebrew, so I can't say if that's what the original text says.
Hmm. Well, so 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 this because the Bible never lists the future prophets, right? Ethnically directly. Um, but yeah, I guess I'll look more into it and I'll come back
Okay,
and do more research on that because I don't want to give you anything wrong information from my end. But this is the verse that they refer to, and maybe we can have another topic, another conversation on this, and I can come and prepare my notes, and then we can talk about it.
sure.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
That's
I'm
fair.
I like talking about this stuff. Um. All right. Looks like we got several people. Does anybody else have any beliefs that you're interested in talking about? And it doesn't have to be a religious belief. Just any belief is all I'm interested. I just want to know how you think.
So, oh, sorry, I think I found my notes. Okay, so it says that because they're brothers is the way the Old Testament identified the Arabs. So the Old Testament uses the coded language that the ancient Israel understood. So Israels are the descendant of Isaac, and their brothers are the descendant of Ishmael, which is Arabs. So this is how the Bible speaks about the Arabs. Like for example, Genesis chapter 16 verse 12, speaking of Ishmael, it says he will live in hostility toward all his brothers. So who are the Ishmael brother? They are the Israelites. So Deuteronomy chapter 2 verse number 4, it talks about Esau. That is another non-Israel group, is called your brother is the children of Esau. So the brother is a Bible language for related nation, not
Sure.
Israel, descendant, not Israelis, descendant of Abraham, specifically Ishmaelis. So the Bible never uses the word Arab, not once in the Old Testament. So the brother is how the Old Testament says Arab. So if Moses said Arab, it would be meaningless to ancient Israel.
No, I know.
So here the timeline matters. So Moses lived around 1300 to 1400 BC. The term Arab was not even used there yet.
Right, I know.
So
That's why I
people,
said Ishmaelites and not Israelites.
right. So that's what I'm saying. So the people at that time identify the group by lineage, tribe, and father ancestry. So then instead of saying Arab, Moses uses the method they use. So from among their brothers, sons of Ishmael, which are Arabs, from among their brothers, which is sons of Ishmael, which are Arabs, this was crystal clear to ancient Israelis. So we are the one who needs the explanation of them. So this is the explanation I wanted to give. But again, if you like, I can look more into it.
Well, I mean,
But
what
I
it
did.
sounds like you're saying to me is that it's the Ishmaelites are, the progenitors of the Arabs, and Ishmaelites are an offshoot from Abraham from the Israelites. So if it says the verse says it's going to come, the next prophet is going to come from Israelites, it couldn't be any Arab. It just couldn't be, because
It says the son of Ishmael, which is Arab, from
the
from
verse
among their brothers.
no, the
So yeah.
verses I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their fellow Israelites. It doesn't say Ishmaelites at all.
Yes, they're talking about, again, I'm saying that the idea of Israelites is referring to which is the descendant of Isaac. Their brother is the descendant of Ishmael, which is Arabs.
Right.
Their
So,
their brothers, right?
so
So the Ishmaels,
how could an Arab be raised from among Israelites?
because their brothers, which is the descendant of Ishmael, which are the Arabs.
So if I say um I'm going to have a son, I'm going to raise up a son, one of my sons, and then I point to my nephew and say, um, "That's my son." That's just not true. That's not what I. That's not. That doesn't match what I said. Right.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure. I'm not. I still. Don't, I don't know. I don't. I still don't see what you're saying.
Because the
Um.
Hebrew Bible never uses their brothers to mean Israelis. That's what I'm saying. So in the Hebrew Old Testament, when God refers to Israelis, he always says from among you. So from among the children of Israel, right? Deuteronomy, God will raise a prophet from among you, from your brethren. Here Moses says from among you, which is Israelites, right? But in Deuteronomy 18:18, the wording suddenly changes to from among their brothers. Two different groups. If God meant Israelis, he would say from among you,
Oh.
not their brothers. So this is
Okay.
the language. So the Hebrew word for brother is Achem, Achip, and I don't know how to pronounce that. That means non-Israeli relative. This is the key. So in the Old Testament, brother refers to the related nation, not the same nation. So when you say Esau, your brother, is not Israelis. So you are the pass through the land of your brothers, like in Deuteronomy 2, chapter 4, he says, you are to pass through the land of your brothers, the children of Esau. Esau, children, they are Edomites, not Israelis. Yet the Bible calls them brothers because Esau and Jacob were siblings,
Okay.
right? So Ismailites, so Ishmaelites, brothers of Israelis. So Genesis chapter 16, verse 12 says about Ishmael that he shall live in the hostility towards all his brothers. Ishmael brothers, Isaac, Jacob, their descendant, the 12 tribes of Israel. So Israelites is the son of Isaac. Arab is the son of Ishmael. They are brothers in Hebrew language. When God says their brothers, he means Ishmaelites, which are the Arabs. This is exactly how Hebrew spoke. So if Moses meant Israelis, he would not have switched the phrasing. So in Deuteronomy chapter 18:15, he's talking about Israelis prophet, a prophet among from you, from your brother. This clearly means Israelis, right? So you got to understand the context of that language. So that's talking about unique prophet. I will raise up a prophet like you from among their brothers. Which why the switch up from you to their brothers, because the new prophet is not from the Israelis. So this is deliberate. So
Hmm.
every Israelite prophet is disqualified. Every prophet after Moses, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, John the Baptist, Jesus was right. So Israelite, not a brother of Israel. So if God wanted another Israelite, he would say from among you, from the children of Israel. But he didn't. He says from their brothers. So that means not Israel. So that is related to Israel, the Ishmaelites, the Arabs.
Okay.
Anyway, you can debate about it, but you can look into the historical cause. Maybe it will make more sense. Maybe I'm not doing a very good job of explaining.
No,
And you can always do your own research.
sure. Sounds good. Anybody else have any more beliefs that they want to talk about? You can unmute if you want. Hmm. No takers. All right.
You gotta be the one to lead the conversation, man.
Well, I mean, I'm not interested in. I'm not. I'm more. I'm interested in talking about other people's beliefs. I mean, I can talk about a belief I have if that matters. Let me think. What belief could I talk about? Um, let's see. I don't have a whole lot of like concrete beliefs. Um, let's see. I think I would say I believe that. Well, I think we kind of talked about this, the other day, near, but I believe that induction is a way to knowledge. Um, if anybody
Yeah,
wants to
but
talk
yeah, but
about
I
that.
think that yeah, I think we did talk a lot about on that. But did that made you? So my question to you, Phantom, whatever we have discussed so far, did that made you at least rethink some of the things, or at least be like, yo, let me rethink through this and 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 see where I go from there.
Well, actually, no, not really, but I did. Went back and found my notes because we talked about like what it would take for me to believe that. Uh, and I phrase it as Christian because I deal with more Christians being from the U.S. than any other religion, but I did say I had 4 steps that it would take for me to believe that become a member of any religion. And we kind of talked about um, some of it, I'd say, but like I I'm not convinced the first cause exists, and I nothing you said really changed my mind about that. Um, I'm also not convinced that any first cause necessarily has intentions. And then I'm not convinced that, um, and I'm going to say the Christian gods because I don't know the I don't know the properties of Allah, so I can't speak to that. But in general, God descriptions are not falsifiable, and the problem I have with not having any falsifiability is that if you can't falsify something, then you can just assign whatever properties you want to that thing, and there's no way to say, well, this set of properties is true and this set of properties is false. There's no way to differentiate that if you can't falsify any of it. And
Like,
that's
what do you mean? What do you mean by falsified? So if I tell you what is a property of God in my religion, I told you that I think a little bit that he's the absolute, he's independent, he has all the knowledge, he doesn't have any son, he doesn't have any partner, he's the pure monotheism. I think that was the whole conversation that we were having. And then you were like, what about a Brahman? And we looked into Brahman and we say, well, it starts with the universe and ends with the universe, so it cannot relate to the first cause. Um, and so yeah, so I think that we do have a clear definition of the attribute, and I think the whole discussion that we had why the first cause is necessary. I mean, I think I gave a lot of points from the scientific perspective, from the philosophy
well, I
perspective.
mean, you gave me a lot of points from your understanding of the science. My understanding of science is very much different than yours. Um,
Well, I said what the science said, and
well,
then
I said
because
what
the
the science. I mean, you're saying you said what the science said. I'm telling you, I've looked into this stuff myself, and the stuff that you said is not my understanding of what the science says. And so, like you just saying this is, um, you just saying this is not doesn't convince me. That's what it is. Summer salt salsa. So you say, isn't an understanding of science supposed to be objective? Um, no, an understanding of science is inherently subjective. I can only understand science the way I understand it. Now, my understanding of the science may not be congruent with the actual consensus of science, but that doesn't change what my understanding of the science is. Everybody's understanding of the science is going to be different, somewhat, um, from everyone else's. And it because well, let me give you an example. Let's say there's this paper that there's this recently reviewed paper that explains the cause of the Big Bang, if there is a cause. Let's say there's a cause. This paper discovers it. That's now the current science, but I don't know it because I've not seen that paper.
Yeah, so the other person said, what's his name? Summer. So science is objective at the methodological level, but scientific interpretation are not 100% subjective. Because science aims for objectivity by using experiment, peer review, reproducibility, falsification, but science is done by humans, and human interpretation involves assumption, models, philosophical biases. So science itself uses objective method, but the understanding of science is not perfectly objective. So he is right on that. But that being said, I think that we talked about the Big Bang theory. We talked about how the time and space was created from the Big Bang. We talked about the second law of thermodynamics. We talked about general relativity. We talked about the GBN, which is the radiation when the Big Bang started.
Yeah,
We talked about any of these points that,
and and
so.
and the
Mhm.
problem I have is my understanding of everything we know about the Big Bang is anything we can say stops at Planck time. And if you go any further back than that, we can't say anything um we can't say anything definitive about it.
Yeah, which is true, which is
Yeah.
true. But then the question remains, how how did this all started, right? How did it, and then not only
And
how, why did it all started?
and
That's
the
something that.
science right there, like how did it all start? It just has a big question mark, doesn't have anything we can say. It has a whole bunch of ideas and no way to pick any one of those ideas.
Right. But we can use our logical understanding to make sense out of it. Science does not and cannot explain the first cause. Yes, because the first cause deal with the origin of time and space, and science only works inside of time and space. So yes, you're right. Science is limited, but science studies physical laws, measurable events, things inside the universe. But the first cause question is about why, what exists before the universe, what's caused the time and space, why the universe exists rather than nothing. So physics cannot observe those measure, right? Um, but
Science would never be able to say we found the first cause. That I would agree with
right,
that.
right, yes, yes, uh, yeah. So yeah, so that's the thing, you know. But to explain the first cause, I would need the time, space, matter. They would need to be able to establish, you know. So yes, science can describe after the Big Bang. Science cannot describe before the Big Bang, which I agree with you. Because the first cause question is metaphysical, not physical. So modern cosmology supports the universe having a beginning, which strengthens the first cause argument. Uh, but that is the only nearest possible solution that we have as of now. The only explanation. But that's it. But that doesn't mean that I can scientifically prove it to you, which I agree with Phantom. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Anyway. Uh. Let me think of let's see, what do we get? We got right, yeah,
Mm,
okay, somersault. Yeah, that's what we're saying. It's just when I say my understanding, it's I'm not saying the science is subjective, but my understanding is it just inherently is. It can't be anything but subjective because I don't know all the science, and
well,
nobody could know all the science. That's
what we're saying is that what we have, like, right, like, I guess, but there it could be slightly biased people who believe in God, right? What we're saying is that the physics and the philosophers and the stoicism and all these things that I've studied so far, and they don't have nothing to do with any specific religion. Like, it doesn't, like, when I'm reading an article about science, I'm saying that whatever I know about God, whatever I read about it, the attributes, I feel like they are pointing towards it. And that's what the philosophies are also talking about. A lot of these Aristotles, these big philosophers, they were like, well, science doesn't explain, why something happens, and it doesn't explain, this is where the limit is. It doesn't explain consciousness. So there are many things that cannot be. So science itself cannot be used, and that's why a lot of these philosophers, they criticize Dawkins, because they think that Dawkins doesn't understand the 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 idea of what God is, right? So because Dawkins is a biologist, right? He himself is not any kind of philosopher. Yeah, Richard Dawkins. Yep. But yeah, but I understand, Phantom, why you would come to that. But I feel like it leaves, in my opinion, just my thought process, I feel like it leaves a big gap, because modern cosmology supports the universe having a beginning, which strengthens the first cause argument. In my case, and so this is one of the strongest argument. The first cause, the willful, the conscious cause. The universe begins to exist at some point. Um, you know. But yeah, so laws of physics cannot cause anything. Like the people say,
well,
because.
I'm
Mhm.
I'm kind of a monist unless I can unless like I have a reason to not be, and I don't see any reason to not be a monist. And so to me, like the laws of physics, they're just they're not anything. They're not separate than um, what the universe is doing. They are just what the universe is doing. Like it's
Right,
not a
right,
separate thing. It's
right.
not like
I agree. Yeah, I
so
agree
so. I don't
because
think. I
because
mean, I don't think the way you said it sounds right to me. Um,
No, I said the laws of physics cannot cause anything. I
And,
think that they are just laws of physics. They have no power. They are just description, not causes. They cannot create. They cannot choose. They cannot activate themselves. So I think they're just part of the universe. They are part of the space. They did not exist before the Big Bang. I'm saying the same thing in a different
oh,
way.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So then that takes us to the
Um,
because only intelligence can cause the sudden beginning,
s-
the precise
yeah, yeah.
constant, the
Hold
stability
on.
of law.
Somersault Salsa asked, "Can you expound on that terminology you just assigned yourself, please?" Which terminology? I'm not sure what you're asking about. You can unmute. You don't need to stay muted, and you can just tell me or near. I'm not sure who you're actually referring to.
Oh, okay.
Monist. Okay, monist. Okay, that means like I believe that reality has one substance. I don't think there's like matter and then some kind of spiritual energy or anything like that. Um, I don't see any reason to believe in any second substance that things are made of.
Sorry, who's asking that question?
Somersault Salsa asked that.
I don't see where she's asking that. Which
Uh,
in,
it's in the chat.
so she said, "Can you expound on the terminology that you use yourself, please?"
No
I don't
worries,
see.
Summer. If you can't speak, that's fine.
I don't see that quote that you just mentioned. Can you type it again?
Yeah, I can type it again.
Summer, sorry, I don't know maybe it didn't come in my chat for some reason. I don't see it.
There, can you see that?
Okay. So she's saying okay, so she's saying okay, yeah,
And
that I see. Can you expound on the terminology
and then there we
that
go.
you just Oh, she's talking about monotheism. I think that's what she's talking about.
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about?
monist. I said I'm a monist. I'm not a
Or
dualist.
you're monist. Okay,
Yeah,
monist. Okay.
yeah,
So that question is for you then. Yeah.
yeah. Does that answer your question? That my statement that I believe in one substance. Okay, good deal. So actually, that's a belief we could talk about. Like I wouldn't say I do believe there's one substance. I don't uh I don't see any reason to believe there's a second substance. So if we want to talk about that,
What do you mean by substance? I don't understand. Like
um
what do you mean substance, second substance?
let me
What
see if
does
I
that
can
mean?
bring up a better definition of substance because I'm not I can't I have trouble putting that into words, but it's like the idea of that here's maybe one way of saying it. Like, okay, so we've got the law of gravity and we've got mass. And I don't think those things are separate. I think they're both the same, talking about the same thing. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So because I think that because only intelligent can cause, I think that's where the sudden beginnings, precise constants, stability of laws, or order out of nothing, information encoded in physics, purposeful fine tuning. I think that there's an intelligence behind it. But if they were mindless, the universe would be chaotic. It would be
well,
random.
well,
It would
why
be
would the universe be seems so that's interesting to me because it seems to me that it makes more sense to me that it wouldn't be chaotic. Like it seems to me like if you had a being with intentions that was like controlling um, the universe would be chaotic because there would be times when the being's intentions would change, not necessarily change, but would be different than the state of affairs. And so then the state of affairs would change for something we couldn't track down. And as far as we can tell, we can track down everything. Like it seems like we can, or almost everything. Quantum effects notwithstanding. Um and that to me speaks that there isn't that set so that being with intentions controlling everything because there
No,
isn't the chaos that we're talking that you're saying would be.
no, because I'm saying that it's the opposite. I think that just because there's such a like I was reading a book of history of nearly everything. He says, look, if the gravity was a little bit, if the sun was a little bit far away, we would have been died because of cold. The world would inform. If it was a little bit closer, we would all burn to death. So I think that there is a precision, there is an intention behind it, and I think that even atheists call it. There is like a physicist atheist. I think we were talking about. I think it was named Sean Carroll. Even he was saying there's a purpose. Seems like there's a purposeful fine tuning. So I think because of these things, because the world is so precise and is so structured, I think that there is an intelligence. I'm saying it if it was mindless, then it would be chaotic, it would be constant, it would be eternal, which we know is not true. It would be random. Instead, it is orderly, it is stable, it is fine-tuned, it began at specific moment, right? It follows the mathematical laws. So there's the so order, chaos, implies mind. Precision, randomness implies will.
Well, hold on.
Chosen. Mhm.
That doesn't really answer my question though. Like if you had, why would you expect why would you expect a universe without intentions to not follow laws without deviation?
What do you mean? Without deviate, would not follow laws without deviation?
Yeah, like every time we look at it, every single time, the gravity is always precisely the way it interacts with mass. And I know I said gravity and mass I think are the same thing, but I'm just using it to try to speak to you in language that makes sense. But mass always acts the same way. It never acts differently. Every
But
single
doesn't but doesn't that mean there is an order? Doesn't that explain there's an order?
well, what I'm asking is why would you expect it if there were a reality with no intentions? Why would you expect it to not follow the same laws all the time? Why would you expect it to be different and have randomly changing laws?
No, no, because everything. Okay, so the order apply implies that there is a structure behind it, right? It's like me on the road driving a car and there's a green light, red light, yellow light. And if those signals just happen randomly, there will be accidents, right? There will be car crashes. But instead, those traffic signals, they're designed in a specific way where the car and the traffic can flow easily. To me, something that can flow with precision, to me, that stems from intelligence. That means there's an intentional structure to it so that it doesn't cause any accidents. But if it wasn't like that, if it was
Well,
just
hold on a
random,
second.
to me
How
that would
would you
apply.
describe an accident?
How would I how would I describe an accident? Like if I'm driving my car and I cross the red light and I hit another car, that is an accident.
Okay, so
And
like,
everybody dies.
but
Everybody dies.
would you say like asteroid impacts are not accidents?
Um as in what sense?
Well, I mean, I'm just going with your analogy. You said uh, nothing is there are no accidents. Well, like I'm asking what would an accident be?
Like I would think that we wouldn't exist, right? If you there's a really good book I highly recommend it. It's written by Bill Bryson, and he just talks about how everything all of a sudden the world started from a singularity and it just started expanding, and then the matter, the time, the space, and everything came all of in order in such a precision where human can live. There hasn't been, as far as we know, with all the technology that we haven't detected any other people like us living in a different planet, or matter of fact any life. We haven't discovered any life other than us. So so to me that means there is an order. So what you're saying to me doesn't make sense, right? If there's if the traffic is the signal and everything is so accurate, then the traffic can flow, the car can go wherever it's supposed to go. But if there was no intelligence behind the architect, there would be chaos, there would be a lot of car accidents, there would not be any order. So to me, that means there was order. That means there was intelligence behind it. Because there was a certain beginning, there was a precise constant, there was a stability of laws, there were order out of nothing, information encoded in physics, right? The physics, whatever they learn about the universe, that's what they call them, the physics, right? So the information encoded in physics, purposeful fine tuning, right? So so because of that, because of the orderly, the stable, the fine tuning, the beginning of a specific moment that follows a mathematical laws, that tells me that there's a higher intelligence behind it.
Hmm. I mean, why couldn't the laws just be brute facts?
Why couldn't why couldn't be a law be what?
A brute fact.
What do you mean? Like in what way?
It means it's a thing that could not have been differently. It just is, and there's really no explanation for it. I mean, the first cause is going to be a brute fact. It has to be.
Because law because law cannot be the first cause because laws don't do anything. A law of physics is like a
What
rule in the
what
textbooks.
what?
Right.
Okay, when I say law, again, remember, I don't think the laws are separate than the actions that are happening because of the laws. Like I don't think the law of gravity actually exists. I think that's something we use to describe to put a label on what
Yeah,
mass is doing. But
right. So the law of gravity
I
didn't.
don't think it
Yeah.
does. I don't think the law of
Mm.
gravity actually exists.
Right, but we know that. I mean, we know the law of gravity didn't cause the universe to appear. The law of law. So we are. When I say we are saying the law describes the behavior, but they do not cause the behavior, right? So laws depends on the universe. So law requires space,
The
time,
label
energy, and particles. They
no
are the mathematical
no.
relations.
No, the law doesn't exist. Like it doesn't depend on anything because it doesn't exist. It's a label that we put on what mass is doing,
What,
and the mass is
whatever the
always
way.
doing it. And
Right. So whatever. Hmm. Hmm. Go ahead.
what I'm asking is why couldn't it just be a brute fact?
Yeah, because they started right. They had a starting point,
Well,
and
every brute fact would have a starting point, or at least a
but
grounding.
right, but that's where we're saying that the first cause did not. The first cause itself is the starting point of everything, right? That is the argument that we've been having,
Right, but
and that is supported in three main religion in theists, which is Islam, Judaism, Christianity.
well,
That the first cause must be necessary, timeless, immaterial, powerful, intelligence, and choosing.
yeah, but what I'm asking is I don't see a reason to add that. I am I don't see a reason to go past the universe that we see and say anything definitively. And the universe itself, I don't see a reason that it could not be the first cause.
Right, but you're again, we are when we are saying when we're talking about the cause and effect, right? With the science definition of cause and effect, that is where the science ends, right? So when
Yeah.
we're talking about, we're saying that there's a beginning, there is a starting point. A lot of people say, what if the universe is eternal? Well, it's not, right? It had a starting point, it had a beginning, it had a structure. So when we are saying that, we're like, okay, what caused it? That's all we are saying. You're just keep applying the same thinking that we agree on. I agree with you that science doesn't go beyond what we know about the universe,
Yeah,
right? That's
so I'm asking you why does it have to be what like you're saying it has to be a god. That there has to be a god that caused the universe. And I'm saying I don't see a reason that it has to be.
right, because it's because the first cause must be, we're calling it, that is fits the requirement, because
What's the requirement
what
that it fits that the universe doesn't fit?
because when the universe began, time, space, and energy all came into existence. So first cause must be timeless. There has to be a cause, right? Or you're saying we don't need a first cause?
Well, no, I'm saying why the universe could be the first cause.
Because universe had a starting point.
So
How can, if universe
we
was created, then who created the universe? And then who created, if universe
no
was
time
created by
time
something?
had a starting point. We don't know that the universe did.
No, universe, bro. Look into Big Bang. What does Big Bang say? The Big Bang said the universe had a beginning.
No, it's when they say that they mean the time and space, not not they don't say that everything had a beginning. They don't know.
No, man. Big Bang say the universe had a beginning. Modern cosmology says the universe had a beginning. This is one of the most important scientific discovery in the last 100 years. The Big Bang model is what confirms the universe is not eternal. What does Big Bang say? It says it had a beginning, a finite point where a time began, space began, matter began, energy began, the laws of physics began. This is what they call it, a cosmic singularity. So the Big Bang absolutely implies a beginning of the universe. You can say whatever you want to say it, but this is what the Big Bang is. And
Okay.
then there's many explanation of this guy named in 1929 Edwin Hubble. He discovers that the galaxies are moving away from us. This means going back in time, the universe gets smaller, denser, hotter. Everything converges into a single beginning point. This leads logically to a finite beginning, not eternal past. Then you have something called background radiation, which is the CBM, which they call it a gun event where this was predicted by the Big Bang theory and confirmed that the universe expanded from a hot state which had an origin, right? And this was discovered in 1965 by this guy named Arno and Robert. They discovered the cosmic microwave background radiation. So this discovery earned them the Nobel Prize. They won a Nobel Prize, saying that the universe had an origin. How can you deny that? Then you have the second law of thermodynamics, which talks about the universe with the infinite age would have no usable energy, heat, death, and maximum atrophy, right? So, but our universe still has energy and structure. So this means it cannot be infinitely old. It must have a beginning, right? So and then there are many other proof that support this. The universe had a beginning. You can go on and on, look into this, all the details. We talked about it up and down. Yes, it is like a domino effect, a need for an external agency, initiate the start of something. Yes, you are at the point. You're right. So that is what we are saying. You call that first cause a spaghetti monster. You want to call it whatever. We call it, okay. This is the definition of what God is.
I
We're
I
saying because it is timeless,
all I
it is
say is
spaceless,
all I
it
say is
is
I don't see a
metaphysical.
reason that it has to have intentions.
Okay, but that can be debatable. We can talk about it, and I think we did briefly talked about it. We talked about the how it started at the precision point, right? It then the structure, the way the universe is structured, right? We are saying there's an intelligence behind it because of all the other things we mentioned
Well,
previously.
but we don't
We
even.
talked.
What I'm saying is we don't even know. Like you're saying, the constants are so precise. We don't know that the constants can be different. We can't test that.
I think that we exist, and the physics are the one that are finding about all these laws and how precise they are. I think that to me tells that there's some kind of order, right? We are still here. If it was any issues, we survived 13 billion years. So I don't know, man. I feel like the life is a miracle, man, because we haven't discovered any single life outside of this universe. So yeah.
Uh,
Hello, Escobar. What do you want,
Hello.
Escobar?
I want to talk about life.
yeah, let's talk
Your
about
life?
life.
You want to
Yeah.
talk about your life, Escobar?
Yeah. Why?
First of all, why is your mustache moving in your image?
It's my life. It's now and never. I don't wanna live forever.
Actually, guys, it is about bedtime for me. I appreciate the talk. I'm going to make you owner near, and you can keep
You're
going
welcome.
on with this.
You can make me an owner. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. No,
Uh,
make me honor. I don't want this.
sure, I'll make you owner too, Escobar.
No, no,
No, not
I don't
co-owner,
want this.
owner.
I don't know
If
how to
you
do.
if
I it doesn't.
it,
Oh,
it gives you the option, yeah,
transfer
transfer
group.
to
That's
yeah.
racist.
What? He's just joking.
Forget about it.
Okay, there we go. All right.
It was a really good discussion, Phantom,
Yeah,
and
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. It
All
was
right.
it was really nice.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, we have butterfly. We have
All right. Well, that was fun. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out. I will talk to you guys later.